Hey.
Hey, welcome, Lightbeam. Welcome to my platform again.
Oh my goodness, it's so great to be back.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Splendidly well. Today is a new day. The sun is about to shine. It's our time.
Yes, yes, the sun is about to shine and it's our time. It's evening over here
Okay.
and I am prepared with my gear.
Prepared with your gear?
Yeah.
You're getting better at this. Like, I love it. It's like you're stretching that poetry muscle. It's a muscle. You flexing. You flexing over there, Kartika.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I made a nice reel that I haven't posted yet, but I am getting on that as whenever I find time, I make a little rap.
Right, right.
Yeah.
We need that. We need all them raps ASAP. We need that. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So, how are you doing, Jerome?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. It's been a wonderful time. I feel very aligned. I feel very inclined to keep these conversations going. So thank you for always growing and always encouraging, these times together, because this is what it's all about, the social
Yeah.
interaction, I believe.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. I am also very grateful to be a part of this with you and always, keen to do it, co-create with you over here these conversations. So, as you were sharing before, you wanted to talk about addiction and salt addiction and food addiction today,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. Hmm.
would you like to start with sharing your journey about how do you feel with food? Because you are now a liquidarian, and what are the, different phases that you've been through?
Right, right. In many different phases indeed. Jesus. So what are the phases that I've been through? Golly. So when I was younger, in my younger years, I was mainly on all animal products, you know, everything animal products, animal flesh, animal milks, everything when it came to, the cereals, the cinnamon toast crunch, the Lucky Charms, the Cheerios, the all the stuff with the milk, and then the advertisements on the comic books I used to read, with the magazines with the athletes that had milk mustaches, talking about got milk, and looking at TVT, the advertisements for the lean cuisines and the kid cuisines and the evening meals and stuff, and the macaroni and cheese, and just the dairy. So that was probably one of the hardest things to start shedding and starting to let go, because I was, raised in a family that was very carnivorous. They had no problems, and they still have no problems today. In fact, they look at me like I'm crazy, you know. They
Yeah.
look at me like I'm crazy, Kartika. I'm out here doing, what are you doing? Where are you getting your protein? Where is your nutrients coming from? Where are your vitamins and minerals? How are you surviving? How are you thriving? So
Yeah.
it's tough sometimes, but this is the life we chose. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you had to tell the viewers, what is it that you're eating right now currently?
Yeah. So currently I'm not eating anything solid. So it's been
Yeah.
liquid for me for quite some time. Juice, coconut waters, smoothies, things in liquid form, those are what suits my body best. So I understand now, when I had the propensity for densities, that was really keeping me in a heavy zone, feeling like my vibration was really down, and feeling overburdened, over encumbered, and feeling like there were some times where, I was violently having episodes. My body was actually my best accountability partner. Can you relate to that, Kartika, where you
Yeah,
start
for
to
sure.
exhibit it, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say it, right?
Yeah. So, your body starts to show signs when you're misaligned, when you don't take the time to listen to it. It tells you, it has ways of letting you know, if you have the ears to hear and the eyes to see, what's already
Yeah.
there. So through that awareness, I was able to be able to see the things that I did not see before. So
Yeah.
now there's so much more to explore. And I actually wrote down a list of things pertaining to salt that we could get into. It might be fun if you want to.
I would love to. Yeah.
Okay. So you have, as far as I know, you have at least 2 videos on your lovely YouTube channel, Expand Love. And you have these channels, these videos for people to let them know your journey when it came to salt, your journey when it came to addiction, and your journey when it came to the affliction that really gets a lot of people. You know, it's in everything. At least it is, I know, here in America. I don't know about India, but I know in America, you go into a grocery store, you can't look at a label without seeing salt on the label, you know? So when it came to your salt intake and then your salt like detox and finding that feeling of health and rejuvenation within you, I know that it took a matter of months, you know, some time for that to happen because it was so stimulating, right?
Yeah, yes. So, yeah, definitely. I remember, I think when on this raw food journey, and like right now, I am 99% eating raw food, not raw food, but fruits. Like 1%, I would sometimes, eat like some greens or taste things here and there, just the raw food. And the hardest thing was the salt.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt it so strong in my body when I left it. Like I had some numbness that came back like a lot, and my face looked so different. Like I
Mm,
felt I was sick, and I was like, "Am I doing the right thing?" Because
right.
my face was like just like inside in a very strange way. Like there was not much like light, coming out, and something inside me just kept telling me that this is the right thing to do. But it's like when you're going through the process, it's sometimes nice that you don't understand what is going on because that keeps you in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like very unaware, and left it, because I thought I don't want to do it now. And instantly, dropped it. And then my body started cleaning itself, and I lost so much weight at that time, and I was like, am I doing the right thing, But I kept going on, and I think it's more like intuition that tells you the body's like at ease. It's at ease, There's this, which is something that helps me stay in my center, and this is the biggest inspiration. The stimulation as you're talking about is not there, and even like now, if I eat spice, like near a chili, I would like to taste sometimes, and I can feel that it's
Yeah.
just different energy. Maybe I get angry more or something, if I had like chili, which is a fruit, and you know then for other foods also, like if I would eat onion, like in the process of transitioning when I was doing it, I would have very strange dreams.
Mm,
Like always when I would have like onion, there was this like sleep awake state, which is like strange, and I
mhm.
think um everybody's very different, and as because having this conversation, I don't encourage people to just like go and leave the food just like that, like okay, one day you were completely eating like carnivore diet, or not carnivore but like meats and all the other food, and then uh, the next day you start eating fruit. I don't really recommend that to people because it can be a huge like, if the body starts detoxing, it can be a huge shock to the system. So there are better ways to do it. And that's why some people do it like instantly and then they have that experience. I would probably tell people to go take it slow if they don't want to. If they're ready, if they feel, yeah, they want to take the challenge, it's good. But otherwise, I would tell people to like maybe do it slowly.
Yeah.
But different things work for different people. So I am somebody who can take like a little bit of some food, eat it, and not take it again. But
Yeah.
some people, they just have a very, if they eat a little bit, they have to eat a lot. So
Mhm.
hi Kavya. She's saying
Yeah.
hello. She,
Hey there.
yeah.
Hey. And thank you for, sharing that. Thank you for illustrating that point so eloquently, Kartika, because you're right. You're so right. It's better. I I also advise, and I agree with you, to fast slowly, you know,
Yeah.
fast slowly, let it be gradual, just as nature doesn't jump, the flower is not in a hurry to blossom and bloom, you know, who are we to do the opposite? So it's interesting when you talk about how your body was at ease. I love how you said that, Karta. You said it was
Yeah.
at, and we know at ease is the opposite of dis-ease, you know?
Yeah.
When
Oh, yeah.
you, so it makes perfect sense, how you started to clear up, how you started to gain more clarity. And it's funny how you said the lack of awareness allowed you to keep going. I feel the same when it comes to my lack of more educational knowledge when it came to nutrition. Since I didn't know a whole lot about a whole lot, it allowed me to keep going through the times that were uncertain. So, coming from, my history when it came to, like you said, carnivorous, eating whole meals for whole families, and then it wasn't enough. It always had to be more condiments. And I couldn't understand that the causation and the catalyst of the condiments that were catapulting me into a further, like unhealthy lifestyle when it came to more ketchup, dressings, hot sauce, like all stuff that I had to keep pouring onto it because I couldn't taste it. It was bland without it. And I didn't understand how desensitizing it was for me until I went on a long juice fast. And after being on a long juice fast, when I went and tasted these things, Kartika, when I took my finger and just took a dab and tasted it on my tongue, it was like I could taste every single ingredient on the label. My tongue had, like, your tongue becomes adapted, and then it's like, what? I've never tasted this before. Like all of the everything. So that amazed me. It amazed me how desensitized I had become in that lifestyle. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Even now, if I put like something which which is not like fruit and I put it on my tongue, I can really feel all the different flavors and they just burn.
Right.
Different, right? It's different.
Right.
It's like dot 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 dot. It's not
Mhm.
like when you eat a fruit, it's like like everything's like just like everything burns. So definitely we are desensitized, and this is one experience that cannot be shared until unless people experience it.
Right.
It's like when I eat a leaf now, oh my God, it's like it just tastes so different.
Mm.
And I am very certain that as that my awareness increases, this will change as well. Because even now when I eat food, I know I sometimes I'm eating fast and it's like I eat more than I need because my body is still transitioning and it's not at that level where I can just eat very little and it will be that's how I feel like it asks for more. My body has needs, it's like
Mm.
it needs to eat more. Otherwise I don't feel so great yet,
I
which
see.
I think which I am transitioning into eating less and less, but I at present it's not the case and I want to listen to it, because I think I've already done a lot for it and uh there is no rush. There is
Mhm.
no rush.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No
yeah,
rest. No. So
yeah,
yes,
it comes.
definitely. Those are wise words because we often want to do things quickly. We want the quick answer. We want the quick fix. We want things quick, but taking it slow can have a lot of value. It can have a lot.
I
Yeah.
I I think it comes to, sorry, and there are like five dogs.
Okay.
Having a brain. Yeah. I think everything comes to us rather than, you know, um, what it always happens like that. And then we become more and more aware of it, and then we can just be laid back instead of like and allow the space instead of acting where it's not needed to
Mhm.
act. Like, all of this activity which is like useless
Mhm.
to it's like you're going kind of against the flow of life or
Right.
just like acting for no reason.
Right.
So, so I think with the transitioning of the body, and like even like moving into liquidarianism or breatharianism, at least to my in my experience, I now feel that things just even the being a fruitarian is something now I can see it came to me, you
Mhm.
know, like the I never knew I would be this person, but it's just catching the flow of life and then it just comes. I think we discussed this one, before, like how the evolution is like you cannot stop your evolution, it comes to
Right.
you. So,
Right.
yes,
I love
yeah,
that. Catching the flow of life, you know. Yeah.
yeah. And then so you were saying this list that you've made, right?
Yeah. So you ready to go through it?
Yeah,
Okay, so number one on the list, and we're talking about salt here, one of the most intense forms of addictions that some people don't even see as an addiction, some people don't even see it that way, but I've come to see it that way when there's been times where I've literally looked at my body and seen signs. So we'll go through it real quick. The first one is that Egyptians used it to preserve dead bodies. One of my friends was talking about how like salt mummifies the body. It's like mummifying you because you remember in one of your videos you were talking about how you use it to preserve food and preserve different things like using salt.
yeah.
So
It
using
takes
it,
the water.
yeah, the
It
water.
takes the water. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. So yeah, briefly talk about that, how it takes the water away. Yeah.
Mm. Uh, I wouldn't know, I think. I
Yeah.
don't think I went into the depth. Yeah.
Well, I thought about it like if Egyptians were using it to preserve dead bodies because it takes the water away, we're using it for what? What are we using it for? And of course, once again, like you said on your video, we're talking about the inorganic salt, the salt that's
Mm.
inorganic, you know,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
has no that has no use for it, like it's not found in nature. So the next one is salt never really leaves your body. My friend was talking about how it dehydrates you, it makes the heart pump faster, but how it's inorganic. When you look at a grape, and you set a grape down on a countertop, and what happens maybe after a few days to that grape that you set down on the countertop? What tends to happen?
Well, it just shrivels down.
Right, right. It
Yeah.
shrivels down. But then you take a grain of salt and you put the same grain of salt on a countertop. What happens to the grain of salt after a week?
It absorbs all the water that is there, no? And it just melts down.
The
And
salt, like
then,
if you just have salt on the counter, just
yeah.
salt, like,
Then it will just be there.
it will just be
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing, after a month, nothing. So
Mhm.
it will stay there. It just stays there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just got it. Yes. Yes. Oh, I just got it then. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I was just like, my light turned on.
Yeah. So the light turned on for me too. It's like, okay, well, if it's just sitting there, it's not doing anything there, then what is it doing in my body? You know? It's just sitting there. There's nothing, it's no nutritional value. So the other one is number three, when it's dehydrating you, the more salt that you have, the more you tend to need to drink because as it's,
Yeah.
toxifying the cells are irritated and they want to flush it out. So the more you tend to need to drink a lot more when you have a lot more salt in your body. In fact, I was looking at people in the desert that it seems that they don't really need to drink a whole lot of water because they don't ingest a whole lot of salt. They've come to understand and come to adapt to that environment, so it helps them in that environment. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Wow, it's interesting, no, that, and then it's stay. There was this something that you talked about, like how it is used for preserving dead bodies. And when I stopped eating salt, my body felt numb, you
Mm,
know? So
mm,
it's like, I think it was just like sitting in these spaces and those nerves were not active probably. And when the salt went out, they were still not active.
mm.
And I don't know how it works though. Why would it be numb? Do you have like, I don't know, why is it that people get numbness? Because it also like, I think helps with the BP if people have like low blood pressure.
Mm,
And
okay.
then if people ingest salt, then their BP goes fine,
Right.
you know? So, I don't know.
Or it turns
Because
to,
it
or it turns,
stimulates the body because it's like it excites it, so like the heart starts pumping, and
yeah,
then I think it just
yeah.
does it, yeah. And
But maybe
now
you were experiencing the sensation without that stimulation, you know?
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
I got it. So now that pumping is not being done,
Mm,
so now the body has to relearn that
mm,
how is it that it can maintain all the harmony in the body
mm.
without it. So
Yeah,
that's why, yeah, the
yeah.
numbness so that got it, yeah.
Same as when you think about caffeine, all the stimulants, the energy drinks, the things that bring people up, the maybe the black teas or the
Yeah,
coffee or everything like the drink.
excites.
So that excites the body. Well, it forgets how to use its own energy. We have our own energy, in abundance. So when we're learning how to use our own energy again, sometimes the body just needs some time to recalibrate, to trust itself, you to trust it, that it can do it on its own, what you think it needs from an outside source. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But don't you think that if for like not eating food that level of, basically consciousness and awareness, do you think it's re naturally built in the body or something that we do through our consciousness, like upgrade the cells?
Wow, that's a really good question. Could you rephrase that one more time?
Yeah, so the capability of the body to sustain itself without any food, is it a natural thing that is already like, ingrained in the cells of like my body? I'm sure the knowledge is there in the DNA, but do I have to activate that knowledge in the body, or is it like that my body would naturally do it without me activating it as well?
Wow, I feel this question is almost twofold because on one hand, I do feel it is natural because the moment I stopped putting in, my body had already begun to heal, you know? It already started the healing process the moment that I stopped putting things in. It was really me putting so many things in that stopped it from the healing process or the detox process. So going back to a natural state. So, as one person said, it wasn't about what I did, but about what I stopped doing that made
Yeah.
all the difference. You know,
Mm.
it's
Mm.
stopped doing. It was backwards. I thought I needed to do something more. I thought I needed to do this. I needed to do that. What if I just stopped? What would happen if I stopped? And that takes courage for a lot of people. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's a very interesting thought.
On
Because
another level, yeah, go ahead.
as you hold that thought, okay, and then I will just because actually, like even with other aspects of like spirituality, if you cannot stop the storm of the mind by trying to stop it, but if you just like take a step back, it just subsides on its own, and then your pure essence comes. So it's the same with like what is the capability of the body?
Hmm.
It's just like, okay, allow it to come, kind
Right,
of, right?
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and I think we all were breatharians before, like, like the body like it's there in human consciousness.
Hmm.
So, but go ahead, you were saying something.
Well, I love how you said it stops on its own. You know, when you think about how you throw a pebble into a pond and the ripples, they're rippling, rippling, because you threw something in there, you put something in there, and now there's waves and ripples in the pond. But if you don't want there to be waves, you allow it to stop on its own. When you don't put anything in, it stops on its own. It settles on its own. It's at peace on its own, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. But like it's dangerous, right? If we tell people, okay, like, just if you feel like, then go ahead and like stop eating, and then you're gonna you're gonna be fine. Like, it's a how would you approach it?
Well, that's why we're telling them, just like you were telling yourself, Kartika, to listen to your body, you know, listen to those gut feelings, listen to your own intuition when it comes to what you feel called to do. You know, some people feel like they have a calling. Some people feel like they're drawn to this. Some people don't feel like they're drawn to this. And it's really for the individual. So it's not something that I'm pushing or putting pressure on anyone for, but I'm only allowing people to see that there is a possibility, you know, to
Mhm.
peek into another possibility of life and of living and of experiencing this human reality, you know? Yeah.
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 So
So,
they must see the possibility of this human reality.
hey, come on, yo. Yo, she cannot be stopped. She cannot be
Oh my
stopped
God.
going. Yes, yes, you already know. So
Yeah.
we have some more, Kartika. So we stopped on number 3, how it dehydrates you. Number
Yeah.
4 is that it irritates and inflames the body. Now, I don't know about you, Kartika, but there were times where after a long fast, I would go back to maybe tomato soup or some soup that had a lot of sodium, a lot of salt in it. And after one bowl of soup, my body started swelling up, you know, edema here, like inflammation there, like different parts of my body just started swelling. And I started seeing visually what was happening to me on a toxic level. And I was like, well, how did my body ever adapt to this? You know? And I really had to give myself a pat on the back and say, like, oh my gosh, I love you, body. I'm so sorry. You know, please forgive me, because I had no idea that I had subjected myself to those toxins all those years, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that how like the children eat all of this food, like we also did, and we did fine, right? So would you say that it's like the density of like vibration that we're in, that it just like it's fine for the body? How does it work? What would you say then?
Well, I'm not a biologist. I'm not a scientist when it comes to understanding all the intricacies of our body, you know, the experiences, everything that goes on inside. But I do know from my own firsthand experience what I felt when it came to not being in it and then going back to it, you know? So when I was away from it and I had the symptoms of detox, the symptoms of letting go, and then also re energizing, more focus, more clarity, more everything, less brain fog. All those things came back to me where I thought they were lost, you know? Then when I
Yeah.
reintroduced the toxicants, when I reintroduced it back into my system, and it had to integrate, it had to find its way and figure out how to assimilate this back into the body, there was trouble, you know, there were complications. And so I was like, whoa, that allowed me to see firsthand the cause and effect, you know, like the karmic cause and effect that we often don't see taking place. I was able to see it, you know.
Yeah.
So I can't speak for us as children, because as a child, I mean, who knows, I was having so many things, you know, so many things were going into my body. So I know that if the body is able to adapt to that, then it's able to adapt to the opposite. If we see someone who we consider, maybe if we consider someone overweight, you know, they're 500 pounds, they're bedridden, they're on the bed, you know, they have TV shows about my 600-pound life, you know, people who are still alive, right? Still alive against all odds. They're on the bed, they can't move, they have to have a wheelchair, you know, really. I've seen people in grocery stores still alive, taking the things off the shelves and putting them in the carts, and they're moving in these electric little chairs at the grocery store, pushing them around because they can't move physically, but they're still alive. So the body is amazing. That's amazing. You can look at that as a superpower, you know? What you said about keeping the homeostasis, keeping the pH levels balanced, that's a superpower. So if we have the capacity to stretch to that capacity, then we have the capacity to go and do the opposite, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I love it. I love it. And this is something that I also like always tell people, and I observe from my own experience. We abuse the body so much.
Yeah.
It's like the levels to which we abuse the body. And then after all of these years of abuse, it just like gives up. It's like, okay, now I can't do it, you're gonna die, you know? And that's like really far ahead. Like, so I just say that the body is like amazing. Like human body has so much potential. It has so much potential. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And especially if we tune in with our mind, like use that as a tool to upgrade it, it can fasten so fast, you know. And
Hmm.
that's why people have this like miraculous healings in sometimes they would just heal, right? With energy, and like the body just transforms, because of course all of this is also an illusion, you know. So so many different levels of looking at it. So then I'm curious, like in your journey, then where are you with salt right now? What are you playing with?
Yeah. So right now I'm not playing with it. I stopped
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah. What did you say? What did you say?
So I stopped playing with it right now. I'm
Okay.
not at the moment. I'm really, really encouraging myself to keep going. And I actually
Yeah.
have yet to think, because your videos, watching your videos over and over again, like they say, repetition is the mother of skill, consistency is the DNA of history. So when we repeat an idea over and over again, as I'm watching your videos of you going through your journey, becoming salt less journey, that has definitely given me a lot of inspiration to continue on mine. So I have you to thank for that.
Uh, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Salt free.
Yeah, salt free. Salt free. You know,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
looking forward to even more salt free meat. And I feel
Yeah.
a lot more vitality, a lot more vibrancy, and just a lot more vigor within my
Yeah.
system when
Yeah.
it is not ridden with salt, when it doesn't have all
Yeah.
the set. So thank you.
Amazing. Yay! Three cheers for Jerome. Go for it. Do it. I'm here with you.
So,
Football.
so we have some more of these. Do you want to just run through them? Do you want me to just run through
Yeah.
the rest?
Yeah, of course. Please go ahead.
Okay, we'll do it like we'll do it quick. We'll do the quick ones. So okay.
No,
So
just go as easy as you want to. You're here. People want to hear you. Like, what's the rush? Just go. Speak your heart.
I'm just trying to, be conscious of your time. I know it's the evening over.
No, come on, no, please go ahead.
All right. All right. But she said, take your time with it. Take your time. All
Yeah.
right. So number 5 is that one of my friends was telling me when they cook zucchini or different foods, they use salt to take away the water, from the zucchini, from the things that they're cooking. They actually, she watched her mother use salt to take away the water, and it
Yeah,
showed, what it was actually doing in our bodies. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's like they preserve the fish, right?
Hmm.
They dehydrate, put a lot of salt, and then they recook it, and then they eat it. It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So what are you doing, guys? Like
But
first you're eating fish, and then you're like putting so much salt in it. Okay, like that's very healthy.
yeah,
Right, okay.
on,
No judgments. Just
on top
fun.
of yeah,
Yeah.
but it's true. It's true. And then 6 was, it's a chemically created compound that's not found in nature. Now this one was blowing me away because I was like, whoa, and it's back to what we were talking about, how when you put salt on a countertop, how you can leave salt on a countertop all day long and nothing's going to happen to it. But if you do the same thing with a grape or an apple or a banana, it's going to decompose, it's going to start to decay, it's going to start to go downwards. But nothing happens to the salt because it's inorganic. It's not naturally grown. It's a chemical compound. So if something is, chemically compounded, it's altered, then it's probably altering us on some capacity. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, it just like gets all the inflammation that we have everywhere in the body. It's because the the water, because the body wants to like save us from the salt, so just it takes the water and just puts in the pockets everywhere in the body, and then it's just that's all the inflammation that we have, and then water retention that we have, and
Right.
then that's why people lose so much weight when they like decrease their salt. So you want to lose weight, just like decrease the salt. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course become healthier also on the path. So yeah,
Right.
and then yeah, yeah,
The
go
principle of,
ahead.
it's like you said in your video, yeah, like as soon as you took the salt away, the weight started dropping. It started going down because, like you said, it was hiding it in different places. It was protecting it from you. It's protecting.
Mhm.
It still had your best interest at heart. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the body is always doing it like with all these different things, you know. It's just like keeping it in pockets, and those are the pockets where we have like something in the body there's like some boil or something coming on because it just wants to like keep the other things protected. And then when we start detoxing, then all of these things we have to face. Oh my God, what an interesting life we have as humans, you know.
Super interesting.
Like wow.
Yeah.
Like eat all the crap food and then detox and then oh my gosh.
Yeah. Very interesting. And it's like, wow, if it's a chemical compound, you can think of yourself as a scientist in your own laboratory, but you're the experiment, you know?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
experimenting yourself.
Oh, we are the rats, the guinea pigs.
Yes. You're the guinea pig going around the wheel, You're
Yeah.
testing stuff. You're like, okay, well, does this work? Okay, does this work? You're experimenting on yourself. You're the test subject.
Yeah. 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 Gotta learn from the freaking experience.
Yeah, yeah. So, there's one thing that can be said, to learn from other people's mistakes. You don't have to necessarily, have to go through that lesson. One
Yeah.
person once told me, Kartika, they said, a smart person learns from their own mistakes, but a wise person learns from the mistakes of others.
Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah. I've
So
heard that one before. Yeah.
yeah, so if you are listening to us right now, if you're watching this right now, thank you. And even if you're watching this on the replay, you know, I'm telling, we're coming from experience. We
Yeah.
felt from all sides of the spectrum what it means to this. So just test it for yourself and see for yourself how it feels in your body. There's
Yeah.
another, let me see, it is a stimulant that makes the blood rush faster. When you talk about a hose that is clogged, there's more pressure. When you pinch a hose, there's more pressure, it's built up, in the hose, so thereby high blood pressure,
Yeah.
it's pressure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it can't go out, it can't flow the way that it would if it wasn't pinched, then tribal indigenous cultures never touched it. If you can imagine that when settlers came to certain areas and they introduced salt to certain areas, all of a sudden this dis-ease came. Like you said before, Kartika, when you were at ease as opposed to
Yeah.
dis-ease, you know? So
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it would be like to be in a tribal community or a culture that never touched salt,
Yeah.
never.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It would be really amazing to be born. I think there is this guy, I don't know if you know him, Free Melon Society. He's called Eli Mata. He is one of he's a stuntman in Hollywood. He's a fruitarian. He eats very less. Like he would
Mm.
eat like sometimes, one or two watermelons in a day, and that's it. And then he's like does all of this stunts and everything. He's big, and he was talking about how he wakes up in the morning and then he has like this immense amount of energy, and he was never like this. And
Mm.
the experience that he's been through over the years is like waking up in this energy, and he goes like of course, like days and days without eating anything, not realizing that he hasn't eaten and stuff like that. So the level of health that we can get is something that I think most of the humans have not like don't even have an idea. And I would say me personally is just like waking up to it as well, even with the fruitarian diet. It's like I know because I have seen that transition of that energy change in my body and how I feel. It's a huge difference from where I was, and I had no reference point of it before at all. And now it's different. And still know there's so much that can be done in the body. Like, wow, levels and levels of it.
So
So,
much,
yeah.
so much. Yeah, we're
Mm.
only scratching the surface, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. So just like because we are having this conversation, I want to put this thought process out for everyone that, there are levels of health that we all haven't experienced yet, and just stay open to it, and like strive towards it because we all deserve it. And how amazing life can be if our body is vibrantly
Mm.
healthy, we can't even imagine. And I think that ill health is like one of the causes for like human suffering, like deepest causes for human suffering. And then we can see corona and everything that happened around. So please, like this thought and this seed, because through thoughts we can ignite so many minds. Like I just want to put this seed out that, guys, levels and levels of health, like vibrance in the cell that can come in your body, just like stay open to it. And then you never know from which direction it comes. So just bringing out that thought, boy. Now we go to the your flow and like tell us more about these like pointers that you had for the salt.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you. Just now, just I really just want to veggie back on what you just said, because we do have to stay open. Don't close the door on your own unlimited capacity. Only you could close the door to that. But like we're
Yeah,
saying, there's so many levels. It's one
yeah,
of my favorite quotations, Kartika, from Bruce Lee. And he said, "There are no limits. There are only plateaus. And you must not stay there. You must go beyond them, to see what
yeah,
them." Yeah. So thank you for that message on letting us know that we are limitless. Yeah, we are
yeah,
limitless. Hmm.
yeah, and forever expanding now.
Expand
God,
love.
yeah. Expand love, yes. That's the guide. Also, love is the guide for expansion.
Yeah, yeah. When you're expanding your mind, expanding your love. When you're expanding
Yeah,
your expanding your love. So don't be afraid of expansion. Expansion can be a wonderful thing, a beautiful
yes,
thing. Yeah. And
and staying open to it,
mhm,
and staying
stay,
open to it
of
comes to
course.
us. Mm.
Yes. Yeah. So to continue down the line, they only have a few more left. So another one is it makes people eat things that they wouldn't otherwise eat had it not been for the salt. So if you can imagine how many things would be bland without it. Like I said before, in our grocery stores out here in the US, it's on everything. You look on the back of a label, it's in everything. And you can imagine, what would I actually not be eating if it weren't for salt? You know? What would I not be
Yeah.
eating? Yeah.
Like so many different things. Like,
So many things. So many things. I mean,
mm,
I was the ketchup kid, Kartika, the ketchup kid. I put ketchup on everything. I put ketchup when I was younger. I used to put it on macaroni and cheese. I used to put it on eggs. I used to put it on rice. I used to put it on like everything. I put ketchup, layered it, lathered it, soaked it in these condiments. It was never enough. It was never enough. So it was like something was never satisfied. Something
yeah,
always did more. It always craved more. It always had to have more. And it was never about having less. It's just more abundance. And I needed more to have the same effect. So that goes back into another one, which is the diminishing returns. You know about the law of diminishing
yeah,
returns.
yes,
So the same when it comes to cocaine, the same when it comes to, a heroin addict or a drug addict or something that's very stimulating for the body. there's a law of diminishing returns where you will start to need more and more to feel the same effect. You've heard of that song. I think Sade sung that song. It's never as good as the first time, you
Yeah,
know? So
yeah,
once the first time something gets introduced to your body, you feel that dopamine kick, you feel that initial kick, and then you've already set the bar. Now the bar has been set. Anything below that doesn't meet the same requirement, doesn't meet that same expectation or the same sensation. Now you need more, to get the same effect. So that's the law of diminishing returns, you know?
yeah, yeah. Yes, for sure. And as you were talking about like the foods, um, when we eat meat, we cannot eat it bland. I mean, I have
Mm,
never really eaten meat, but in general, people eat meat, they have to put spices, which is like all the, herbs. So you smell the herbs and that's what you want to eat. You can never just eat meat like just like that without cooking it or without putting all the plants on it. So this is very interesting, and like there's so many things that we wouldn't eat if there was no salt in it, and and we're eating them because of the addiction of the salt,
mm,
because we're addicted to the salt. And I know there's like a lot of probably olives on, so many things that are just there in nature, and we process it and then put salt in it and then we eat it, and it's just like having cocaine. So like we were talking about food addiction, which is probably something that is really like far-fetched for a lot of people, but it is an addiction. And when I look at even as a fruitarian, I would say, that I am at some levels addicted to food. And then, when the emotions come, and then, especially when I fast, then I realize, yeah, I'm doing that, but I'm okay with it. We've come to experience duality. It's slow, and, no one's perfect.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, but that's the thing. Like we are eating because we're stressed, and if like people who are like in higher consciousness, we're constantly like giving out love, and they have like reprogrammed their patterns, and then they don't need food because they're like it's just full of energy, and like
Right.
these negative patterns that we have, they take the energy out, and then we want like to fulfill the energy with something else, and we want like basically something that stimulates us also, because yeah, it's like wow.
Yeah. Because Kartika, what did you have to do to compensate when you took yourself away from salt? Didn't you have a phase where you were going through the cucumbers and something too? Like you had cucumber and lemon. You had some combination with cucumber, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was actually eating lemons, and I think I really missed the bland feeling of eating bland. So I would eat a lot of coconut actually at that point. It has no relation with salt, but I don't know what is it, maybe the density I needed or something. But I had a lot of coconut at that time. Like I was traveling, I still remember, and I don't think it was doing good to me, but I didn't realize it. I just had to like yeah, be denser, I couldn't take it. And yeah, and then now what I do, because I realize that the density of the fat is something that I don't know, someone doesn't digest well in the body anymore, the nuts. And uh, so what I do now is like I still eat cucumbers. I put some like lemon, but now it's I don't require it so much. But I still have sometimes the desire to
Yeah.
eat. Salt is the only thing, like cooked food, I don't think I desire anymore. But sometimes I would be like, oh, it's like we've done it for so long. We've done this drug for so long that we need some time to completely get off it.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have like, I do get the desire, and it's very mild. It's not something that I would act on, but it comes. And so I have like, sometimes I'll get chili, and then I will have like very little bit of it, and I'll be like, what was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just like give it to somebody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you just play around. I think I just play around day to day, with things and what comes in. I think
In the
that's
moment,
the best way, huh?
in the moment, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Playing is the best way, I think, for everything. Even with food, like, yeah, like make it exciting for yourself in ways that, it nourishes you. In ways, because we have emotional hunger, as you were saying, we really have. Physical hunger is not so much, is the emotional hunger for which people are eating most of the time. So we need to fulfill our emotions through the things that we do, and like recognize more and more that how we can feed off like love and like just passion and creativity. And I think that is, there was this experiment done with rats, and they
Okay.
were given cocaine in water, and
Okay.
all of them were like going and taking the cocaine, drinking it, and then their setup was changed, the environment was changed, and then they were allowed to socialize with each other, they had swings and everything, and then they stopped the cocaine just on their own. So it's like what we need is connection and play and joy, and that's the way to it, for addiction
Whoa.
and changing the environment, of course, also. Yeah, but the
Whoa.
cocaine was still there actually. Yeah.
The cocaine
So
was still there.
yeah, and they stopped. They stopped taking it because they had connection and they were thriving. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So you can even stop cocaine with connection. They stopped it
Yeah.
with more connection. Ah, I love that. I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was in Portugal that they tried, like, basically instead of punishing people who had drug addiction, they would put them in like social spaces where they could, like, just interact, have connections and everything. So I think one of the major reasons why we get addicted to things is because, as I said before, the emotional hunger is not being met. We are not able to process a lot of things. We have no direction. And
Mhm.
it's easy, guys. It's easy. I know. I mean, it shouldn't say it like, it's easy. It can be difficult for a lot of people. But if we just open our perspective to like that it's easy, then it becomes easy. So basically, if we can connect with ourselves, connect with nature, connect with other beings. I think that's like connection is the answer, which is like love, in some ways to everything. As you said, I remember that one. You said love is the answer to all the problems, from Wayne Dyer. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it in my head, now.
Right.
Yeah.
No matter the question, love is the answer. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep connecting with you, Kartika. These connections are always so nourishing, always so building, always so empowering, always so enlightening, just
Mm.
interaction, having our conversations. This, I really feel nourished because this is like
Yeah.
breath. This is my breath breakfast today. We're
Yeah.
sharing together. Yeah.
Yeah, I also definitely feel like that, like for sure, like every time, it's just the way things can flow between us, and like the way conversation flows and expression comes, and I definitely feel so nourished with your presence, with everything that you offer over here. So thank you so much. And I would like you to share with everyone where is it that they can find you, what is the work that you are doing, so that if they want to reach out to you, they can always do. Yeah.
Yes, of course. So at J Rom Shaw on Instagram, all my links are in the bio there for you, for your listening pleasure, for your reading pleasure. We have blogs, we have, videos, we have so many things. We have books as well. And the newest thing has been the Patreon. So the patreon.com/chronic path, just really a cultivation of a whole catalog of conscious content for a community of like-minded beings, people in the pranic path, or people who would love to learn more about pranic nourishment and pranic living would definitely benefit by going there. So much love to you always, and just thank you for opening yourself up to expressing yourself in this way that we can also expand ourselves and expand our love to the fullest capacity. So thank you.
Um, Thank you. Thank you, Jerome, for sharing with everyone where they can find you. And I want to share, guys, our money is our vote. Where we, put our money is where we put our energy. So we have to become more and more conscious and start putting our energy, like this money energy in, people who are really bringing in health, who are really bringing in spirituality, and who are bringing in, all of this great art and right, right brain, where all of this information that can truly nourish people instead of like the industries which are taking from us from planet Earth. So please go and support Jerome and like put your energy and find like so much more value that comes out for your life to be nourished and to be elevated. Yes. So I don't know. It's just all people who are like following their purpose. Um, I would love to like all of this energy to come out and support them. So that's why I put this out today. Yes.
Thank you. Bless
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Looking
Thank you
forward.
so much. Come again.
Looking forward to doing
Looking.
it again. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and thank you for inspiring me for my raps and for everything that you do, Jerome. Lots of love from my side. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you. I love you. Love you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us. Lots of love, lots of love, lots of light.